Okay, welcome to the June 15th Board of Selectmen meeting. We'll call the meeting to order. Actually, first order of business is to welcome the newly elected Joe Bruno to the Select Board. Congratulations on that. And a big thanks to our departing member, Marshall Bullock, for the time that he had on the board. So welcome and thank you. Second order of business is approve the minutes of the May 11th meeting. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
I will abstain.
Okay.
Lonnie, I don't think you can, second it. Lonnie wasn't here for that one.
Oh, yeah, no, I can't.
No, he can second the motion because the motion is irrelevant to whether he was there or not.
Well, I seconded anyway, so.
So all those in favor? Seeing four hands raised and one abstention, the motion is carried.
Right.
Next order of business is election of officers. Is there a motion for the chair?
I'll make a motion for Teresa Sadak to be the chair.
Is there a second?
I'll second it just for the fact of it.
Any further nominations? Seeing none, I'll close nominations. The article is to appoint Teresa as chair. All those in favor? Seeing all hands raised, motion is carried. Is there a motion for the vice chair?
I motion Ralph Olson for vice chair.
Second.
Any further nominations? I'll close nominations. All those in favor of Ralph Olson as vice chair? Seeing all hands raised, motion is carried. Is there a nomination for the parliamentarian?
I motion Joe Bruno.
I second that.
Moved and seconded. Any further nominations? Seeing none, nominations are closed. All those in favor of Joe Bruno for parliamentarian? Seeing all hands raised, motion is carried. Congratulations. I'll turn the meeting over to the new chair.
All right. Consideration of recycler's license for Automel LLC at 1261 Roosevelt Trail. Alex?
Hey there. Good evening. So this is just an annual renewal. So the 5-year approval was August 13th, 2019. So like the last one we did, as long as nothing has changed, the board can give them an annual approval, much like a liquor license, and they can continue to conduct business until the next year. I guess a couple of things on this one, just to get you up to speed on the file. I did receive a complaint sometime around December or January, I believe, that they had exceeded the number of cars they were allowed. There's a condition on the approval only allowing a maximum of 20 cars on site. And I'm not sure if that condition came from their conditional use approval through the ZBA or where that condition came from, but it's out there. So I went down to do an inspection and did not find more than 20 cars on site at that time. So I had at that point closed the complaint. But prior to this evening's meeting, I did actually swing by there just to take a look and found approximately 35 cars there today. So that's just something that we'll just have to work through on that. Obviously, they got to get the number back down to 20. We can address that however you guys would like.
Any questions for Alex on this? I know when you first started too, I think when Scott was still here, there was some complaints that came in too in the beginning because there was a lot of cars there. So I guess what is a plan that you guys can do to keep them under, so there's not complaints. You're muted.
When
Sorry.
the old code enforcement officer was there, the vehicles that were along the fence, those were our resale vehicles. So those weren't part of it. So I'm not sure if that's changed now. So like I have 6 vehicles out front near the road that are for sale. And then there's vehicles that I know there's 2 out back that say sold right in the window. So like our sold vehicles, those weren't part of it.
Weren't part of the 35 or the 20?
Part of the 20. We can have 20 vehicles on site for parts or to rebuild our vehicles.
So you're saying you can have 20 parts cars, but you can have more for sale cars?
There's supposed to be 10. We should have a limit of 30 vehicles.
Alex, can you answer to that too?
I can't, but I can check on it. Everything I've seen so far has said 20, but it's very possible that that is the case. I just have to look back and see where that condition comes from and if there is anything in there on, specifics for if it's for sale or if it's for salvage or recycling. And regardless, I mean, I think she just said 6 out front for sale right now. I think that still puts them over the 20 for the recycler side. So regardless, I still think there's an issue there that needs to get addressed. But I can look into that and see. It would take me a little while to pull that information up. It's not going to be tonight, but
No. Yeah, and if you could just let us know, because I know even 20 and then 10 for reselling, Alex found you at 35 tonight. So if we could keep them under.
Yeah, I know there's a plan tomorrow to get between 5 and 10 vehicles out to haul to the junkyard.
Okay. So we will let you work with Alex on that one.
Okay.
Questions?
Go ahead, Joe.
So is there a separate retail license to sell the vehicles, or is it all under the recycling license? Like, is there, normally if you're a retailer, you have a license for retail. And
Yeah.
so are there 2 separate licenses? And does the limit only apply under the recycling license?
So there is 2. We have our used cars license and then we have our recyclers license as well.
But on your used car license, is there a limit on how many you could have?
With the old code enforcement officer, we were limited to 10. So that puts us 6 by the road and then we can have 4 by the rear of the fence.
Was that a state law that says you're limited to 10, or was that a local ordinance, or?
That was just a deal that we made with the old code enforcement officer.
Okay. So I guess, Alex, I would ask that you look into why was there some kind of a deal made when, they have 2 separate licenses?
yeah, I can
Or is it the property size or?
It almost sounds like the one license allows 20 cars, the other license allows 10 cars. And if that's all, if that is the law on each of the licenses, then what she's saying is legit, even though she still was 5 over, which she's going to take care of 5 or, I mean, I have no issue granting, permission for this to move forward, but I definitely would want a contingent on just making sure and being conscious that she doesn't over exceed. And if she does, then we can't be as nice to you next time, because it's very important that we follow it for certain reasons. So,
Okay.
I mean, that's
I'm
my
all in favor of that too, Lonnie, but I just want to know who put the limits on,
right.
and where is it in our ordinance, or where is it in the history that there's a limit of 10 retail cars and 20 recyclable? I just want to know where that is.
Great question. That would be nice.
I think I might even have a copy of that still from our first first town meeting that we had to go to for our recycler's license. Because it wasn't a state law, because there's no state law on it. It was something that the town has put in place.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain it's from the ZBA under their conditional use approval, which was the
Okay.
original approval from this. There's no real time sensitivity here. So if you guys want to table this, I can dig up all the information and get it to you guys before the next meeting if that's what you'd like to do. But there's no real need to approve it conditionally tonight or anything.
Well,
They could still operate the way they are right now.
Oh, yeah, but what's up for consideration right now is on the recycling, not on the
sales.
So it appears that, the question is on the resale side, not on the recycling side.
Well,
Correct.
I don't have a problem with approving this, but Alex can give us an update as to, why it is what it is. And then you also have to make a point of staying within the limits though, too.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. That's completely fine. Because the state put this law in a couple years ago that we need the recycler's license in order to even operate.
Okay. Are you guys okay with that?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
may I ask that the representative from Auto Mill identify herself, please?
What's your name from Auto Mill?
Sarah,
Hi, Sarah. Sarah, what's your last name?
Day, D-A-Y.
Thanks. She
You're
does it
welcome.
for the notes. Are you guys okay approving this?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve the recycler license with
Second.
all current
With
limits as
condition, yeah.
applicable.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor? All right, here we go. Good, great, thank you. And Alex will get an update for us then.
Okay, thank you.
All right, great, thanks.
Bye.
The next one, the update on the status of the Cafe Sebago fire inspection, I'm going to table that until the next meeting. There's some things that are still undone and have to be resolved. So we will move on to the next one.
I believe you need a motion to table.
Do we?
I'll make a motion to table.
Second.
Second,
Any questions? All in favor? Okay. Thanks, Joe. All right, consideration of appointing Greg Dean to the Zoning Board of Appeals. That's Alex again.
Yes, Greg is here. So if you guys have any questions for him, he is available. He was at the last ZBA meeting. And I believe he's a relatively new resident in town with an engineering background. So if you'd like, he can tell you a little bit about himself.
Sure.
Hey, Greg.
Hello, nice to meet everybody.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm a recent resident. I grew up in Augusta and spent the last couple of decades on the West Coast. And then my family moved back here. Most of my family's still in Maine. So I recently had a son and we relocated back to Raymond. Kind of been enjoying the Sebago area off and on while my time away from Maine. So had the opportunity to work with Alex as a resident and kind of piqued my interest and have been following the ZBA and went on the last sidewalk and just kind of, want to be involved in the community. I saw that there was an opening for quite some time. So I figured I'd apply and see if I could help.
Any questions for Greg? No?
Not really any questions, but definitely excited to have you volunteer for the position. And we always could use the enthusiasm for sure.
Yes.
I think it's great that you want to step up and do some public service.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you.
I'll
I'll make a motion to approve Greg Dean for the Zoning Board of Appeals.
so moved.
All right, Sam second it. Any questions? All in favor? Thanks, Greg.
Thank
I
you.
think you have to touch base with Sue too about all that.
Yeah,
Signing
I'll
and swearing
I'll
and
be
stuff.
out in the rest of the week, but you don't have a ZBA meeting imminent, I don't believe. So if you can come in sometime next week to be sworn at or in, is a better preposition.
I was going to reach out to Sandy. She suggested that I email her to schedule some time. Should I wait for next week for you both to be there?
No, that's fine.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, consideration of resignation of Len Sorelli from the Zoning Board of Appeals. Alex. Alex, you're busy tonight.
I guess so, yeah. Yeah, nothing really to say on this one. Len has resigned. Unfortunately, he was the chair. And I don't believe he is here to say anything on it, so.
Is there a co-chair right now?
Yes, yeah, we do a vice chair.
Okay, so they will step up and be the chair for.
Yeah, and they'll reorganize either the next meeting or the July meeting anyways, so.
Okay.
Madam Chair, the vice chair doesn't necessarily become the chair. They'll need to vote on their officers again.
I think just to get that meeting started.
Oh, yeah.
going is all- yeah,
Definitely.
just to do that, yeah. They have to have somebody that started that. All right,
I'll move to accept the resignation.
Second.
Second.
any discussion? All in favor? Okay,
Thank you for your time, Len. We appreciate your time.
ditto. All right, consideration of absorbing Raymond Rec assets. Joe, you're up.
Hello, everybody. I guess first I'll give a quick update of what's going on. The Raymond Rec Association, the nonprofit parent-run board, has decided to dissolve and be absorbed into Raymond Parks and Recreation. So I'll be taking over all the program and activities. With that transfer some assets. A lot of it is smaller stuff, basketballs, soccer balls, some goals. But the biggest one would be the overall funds that have been generated over the years. That's roughly around 14 to 15,000. So that's going to be transferred to a special revenue account. It wants, when talking to the board and when they voted, they want to earmark that for a future project for a facility. So that could be a baseball, softball, any type of recreation multi-purpose field. So that's what they're want the funds to be used for.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Yeah, good.
So, Alex, not Alex, I'm used to dealing with Alex on this one. Joe, so how do you think, are they all on board as far as still having the volunteer groups?
So they want, it's going to be a complete dissolve. They are definitely willing and able to help out when possible, as far as give me some background history information, stuff like that, how they operate in the past. They, it's like anything right now. We're going to ask parents to step up to volunteer to coach, to help in any way possible. But I'll be administrating all the programs and everything from that. So I'll be asking for volunteers, and the board who's there right now is very willing to help out, which has been great.
Cool.
Good.
Good.
I think they'll save some money, especially with the ski program and insurances and stuff like that, which will be great.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think there's some good opportunities to provide those programs, and definitely see where, there could be some new offerings come down the line, depending on who wants to volunteer or run a program.
Right.
That's
Do we
great.
need a motion on that?
Did we? We should.
Yeah, you need it. You need
Yeah.
to accept
To
those.
accept the money, I think you need a motion.
And before we do that, Alex Aponte, I'm assuming you'll set up just a reserve fund like we had for the tree growth
Yes.
funds and things like that'll go into, which is it'll be a designated fund for that, which then to be expended would require a town vote to pull that out and actually expend it, correct?
Actually, no. It will be a special revenue fund because it's monies that the town's receiving, and it's not monies that the town has had elected to, pull out from taxes or what have you. It essentially will carry over into the new fiscal year, and those funds would be able to be used as just like any other special revenue fund. But essentially it would carry over year to year. Based on my understanding, those funds would essentially be utilized this fiscal year. And I did double check with the auditors just to make sure.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to accept the funds from Raymond Rec and all other recreational programs in Raymond to come under the direction of the Raymond Recreation Department. I think,
Second.
is that what it's called?
Raymond Parks and Rec.
Raymond Parks and Rec.
Yes. Who seconded it, Sam?
Second, yeah.
Any discussion?
Yeah,
Oh.
I have a question for actually both Joe and Alex. Is what do you foresee as any issues? I mean, I hear all everything good. I mean, of course, always want people for volunteering and all of that, but do you foresee any problems on monetary or parks issues coming up or anything to that effect that'll be big ticket?
Yeah, no, I think that's great. So I mean, the way I will run programs and the way Rec Association did a great job of having a fund balance there that was revolving. No, we run the programs as kind of self-generating. They cover the basic expenses of the program, any future investment in equipment or anything like that. So that's how we'll run the programs. But I think on the facility side, I think that's why Raymond Rec Association wanted to apply those funds and earmark them for future facility. As you know, we're renting from Agawam, and we're using baseball fields that we're trying to get into better shape here. So it'd be great for a future complex that could house soccer, baseball, softball. So that's probably the future vision of that fund and what we could do at Raymond Parks and Rec.
That's great.
Any other questions? All in favor? All right.
Thank
Good.
you.
All right. Before we go on to the next one, excuse my ignorance. Sandy, are you the new one at the office? Okay, that's Sandy. Everybody say hi, Sandy.
Hi, Sandy.
Hi, Sandy.
I was sitting there looking, going, I don't know who this person is. There we go. All right. All right, moving on. Consideration of board / meeting committee meetings format in light of CDC guidelines. Are you guys comfortable enough to go back to in-person meetings?
I think
Like
so.
Zoom meetings? Yeah,
Yes.
I think at this point,
get back to
I-
normalcy.
yeah.
I definitely am, even though I do like this convenience. There's no question about it, but on the same token, I'm good with, meeting back up in person and all that. So,
And I don't think there's any guidelines or any restrictions because CDC has opened up. The last that they have put any restrictions on is actually schools and daycares and preschools as far as till June 30th with the masks. And they're dropping that as of, like I said, June 30th. So I think everything else is opened up. Yes, Sue.
We did get some information from MMA Legal, and the ability to hold meetings like this will end by the end of next month. So
Okay.
we
so
won't
let's
have
start.
the authority to continue taking votes electronically like this.
Well,
Okay.
There is, however, a possibility. There is a bill in the legislature, so there's a possibility that the ability to hold remote meetings may or may not, but it's being considered as a possibility for the future. And I think for, obviously you want to go back to in-person meetings, but for people who can't attend for whatever reason, I think it's still a great option for that to happen. And so I hope they do approve some sort of an allowance for that, if not the ability to have in special circumstances remote meetings. So I think the pandemic, if it's proven anything, has proven the worth of this technology. And so let's see what happens, but I'm in agreement. It's time to go back to regular meetings. And, we could do the July one and still be within the 30-day timeline after the expiration of the governor's executive order, but we could do the July one also in person and then wait and see what happens with the legislature.
And if the legislature does approve that bill, that won't go into effect until 90 days after cloture.
Unless it's an emergency.
It wasn't put in as an emergency bill.
Yeah, you never know if somebody will amend it.
That's true. They could amend it to an emergency, and then it goes into effect immediately upon approval.
All right. Are you guys all in favor of doing July's meeting in person?
Yes.
I am, yeah.
We have to.
Stop your whining, Lonnie. Rolf, what do you think?
I said, it's fine with me.
All right.
I'll make a motion. We need one? Or no?
I don't think you need a motion on that because
Perfect.
That's,
Yeah.
It's just kind of a sentence. Rolf, you were going to say something?
no, I was going to say I guess you would give the option to the other boards at their discretion through the end of July, which way they want to go. But after July, then they're back to live.
Well, and I think it's a letter that should go to each of the boards, to be honest. You know what I mean? So they know what the rule is, what the law is. And then that way they have it as a record and they can decide, yeah.
But I mean, because that's the format, we is kind of at their discretion, but as long as they know that the authority to be able to do that by Zoom expires the end of July, then they'll know that that's their last shot before they have to, before anything they do in June or July, they have that flexibility. But after that, then they're back to live.
It is good to give everyone that heads up that, hey, this is coming. Here we go. Be ready.
Yes, exactly.
We'll do that.
Thanks.
So here is a question for you though. If we're going to have live meetings, are we going to have something on the door that says that if they want to wear masks, they can wear masks? If they're not unvaccinated, to wear masks? What are we going to do about that?
I would suggest that we follow the same protocol we follow at the town office and the same signage.
Okay, it works. It's the same building on everything. So, all right. Cool. All right, next. And I just lost my minutes. Hold on. All right, consideration of annual payroll warrant policy. Alex Aponte.
So you should have in your e-packet the payroll warrant policy, as well as the AP warrant policies. Essentially the same thing that we generally have the select board sign each year, just stating that there needs to be 3 signatures for the warrant in order to disperse funds, and at least one signature from the select board member to sign for payroll. There's nothing there's nothing that has changed aside from the dates. It's just unbelievable.
Okay. I'm the one that goes up and signs payroll now unless I can't do it. Is there somebody else that wants to do it? I mean, I can still do it. It's not a problem. Didn't know if anybody else wanted to take over it.
I've signed them several times. So.
Yeah. It's when I can't get out of here.
Well, I generally can, so I can sign the payroll anytime.
You want to do it? And then I don't have to worry about it. I'll just let Alex can let Rita know or whoever know that. Yeah. Usually I get the email. Okay. All right. So Sam's going to do payroll. All right. I think we need a motion on that too.
So move the policy, treasurer payroll warrants and accounts payable warrants.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor? All right. Consideration of staff annual appointments.
And this, like the previous, is the normal end of year housekeeping. It's to reappoint all of the various officers of the town. Or, yeah. It's to reappoint the staff, so I think I've got everybody in there.
All right, so it's just the staff ones.
And the only one that's different is the main waste to energy representative is now Dawn, if you approve that.
Well, all right, so we doing the staff annual appointments and the boards and committees annual appointments together, all of it?
No, they're two.
No, they're two different.
You have to do it individually, yeah.
Okay,
And I'm very happy if someone wants to take that position. I've always been the alternate. So if someone has a dying, desire to spend some time at the waste to energy plant, I'm happy to relinquish that and return to alternate. Or not. Okay.
yeah,
I
sorry.
guess I'm
You're
going.
stuck with it.
Okay.
We'll move the appointment of municipal officer. As
Can I get a
presented.
second?
Second.
Can I get a second? Ronnie got it. Any questions? All in favor? All right. Staff in boards, committees, annual appointments.
Is there any people that are on any of them that do not want to continue?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
So can I make a motion on keeping the municipal officers as is from the Beautification Committee, Board of Assessment Review, Conservation Commission, Planning Board, Veterans Memorial Park, and Zoning Board Appeals?
Mm-hmm. Any second? Okay, Rolf? Any questions? All in favor? All right. Cool. All right, select board representations on boards and committees.
I only found 4 committees now. There are several committees like the cemetery committee, for instance, that doesn't really exist anymore. But I found 4 that used to have had select board representation. And that's the beautification committee, conservation commission, the new recycling committee that we're advertising for, and the Veterans Memorial Park. I think you also did the library board as well.
Yep. Hey, I'm on 2 of those, and there's 5 of us on this board. So
Good job.
You're doing a great job.
Atta girl.
I feel so bad to the beautification committee because they're so good and they just kind of been doing their thing. And the library we're working on a couple things there. So I would love to stay on the library. If someone else wants to do the beautification, I feel awful because I feel like I've abandoned them big time. Or do I stay on the beautification and keep abandoning them? I won't
I
do
mean,
that.
if you don't feel like you're giving them the support, then yeah, one of us needs to do it, and I'll do it if that's what we got,
Well, I checked in with them, and one of the things that we're working on is instead of doing the fundraisers for the wreaths every year, we're going to actually put banners up because we bought banners one year last year when we didn't know what was going on. This year it was more of a regular thing. So Dawn and the beautification committee and I or whoever else is going to get together and with Nathan, and we're going to pick some banners to have up all like through the
Great.
summer,
I love
and then
that.
pick up like winter banners is what we're going to do, and then just recycle them.
Yeah.
Which will be great. We already have the brackets. We just have to figure out what banners they want. So I mean, I don't mind staying on that. All right.
Okay.
What about the conservation committee? Who's on that?
Don't know. Let me look.
Okay, let's see some hands. I got 2. Somebody else needs this one. And recycling committee and the veterans committee.
I'll do the recycling.
I'm already on the veterans committee.
Oh, we got the veterans already.
I'm on the veterans.
The conservation committee, Joe or Lonnie?
Well, I'd hate to take away fun from Joe, so I would say he's probably the best person for it right now because he just needs it. You can tell.
He does, yeah.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Oh my God. Yeah,
I'll do it. I'll do it out of respect for Mr. B.
Thank you.
Yep.
So that leaves you not doing anything, Joe. I have 2. You can't, yeah, you can't have the library. But you're not going to do beautification because I'm already working with Don. on
Look
that.
at this face. I need beautification.
All right. We need a motion on these.
I'll move that slate.
Second.
Second.
Any questions?
No.
All in favor? All right, good. All right, consideration of annual fee schedule.
And this is literally a formality. You did just approve it in April, I believe it was, to add the Tassel Top event fees to it. And there have been, I've sent messages out to all of the various department heads. I've had no updates, but it does need to be approved for the next fiscal year.
Make a
So there are
motion.
no changes in the fee structure?
That's correct.
I'll make a motion to accept the recommendation.
A second.
Any questions? All in favor? All right. Good. Public comment. Does anybody have their hands up?
There are no hands raised.
All right. Let's move on to selectmen comments.
If I may.
Yes.
I just want to thank the residents of Raymond for electing me to a 5th term as a selectman. I really missed it while I was gone. And I'm really excited to be back and energized to continue doing what selectmen do, or select people, I guess is the correct term now. But look forward to it. And I want to just thank everyone in Raymond that came out and voted.
We're glad to have you back, Joe. So
Thank you, Sam.
Rolf.
As we're starting to hopefully turn the tide here on the COVID things, I think it's just an appropriate time to re-thank the town staff and whatnot for the efforts that they put in during that. We went through a lot of roller coaster rises and dips and things like that, and they always rose to the occasion. So they managed to keep the people in the town served very well during the tough times, and I think it's appropriate to thank them for their efforts there.
Huge thank you to them.
hey, yes.
Yes.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I do have a message that there's somebody that did want to speak during the public comments, and they were having trouble getting their hand raised. It is raised now.
Okay, let's go back.
Okay.
All right. Is it Grace?
Yes.
All right. Go ahead, Grace.
You're muted, Grace.
She's trying to get unmuted.
There you go.
Sorry, thank you. Sorry, for some reason it wasn't working. So with all the Zooms I would do every day, you'd think it would be quick. Appreciate you going back. I would just ask that you pause a little more when somebody says public comment. If you're doing it this way and people aren't sitting in front of you raising their actual hands, it would be helpful too. I've done that myself on some meetings I've facilitated. It's actually my husband, Peter, that had a comment, if that's okay. Thanks.
Yep.
Yeah, hi, Peter Levitt, 2 Levitt Road. I just, after attending candidates night and hearing some of the questions that were raised, and it occurs to me that this is just a suggestion for either a standing agenda item or for at least more in the way of information other than what's on the website regarding the Lakes Region Broadband Partnership. I do follow these meetings on rare occasions. I do hear that there is some update. However, I get the sense, and maybe it's just me, but I don't believe so, that there is interest in getting more in the way of an update as to what's going on with that partnership. On the website, the town website, there's a Wyndham Eagle article that is dated August 24th, 2018. So that is a little bit dated as far as almost 3 years for updates and for information. So if I looked at the Lakes Region Broadband Partnership Technology Planning document, it says as a bullet point, a strong feeling that the communities want to take control of their own destiny. And it just occurs to me that if that's true, I haven't seen much in the way of activity that would indicate that Raymond is trying to seize control of its own destiny regarding broadband. So I would ask that you consider that. Also, I have not heard, I did hear at candidates night, a lot of discussion regarding a comprehensive plan. And I was just wondering if there are any plans to form a committee and start looking at that. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. All right. Anybody else for public comment?
I do think, no, I'm not public comment, but just in response to Mr. Levitt, I do think we do need a comprehensive plan committee. And we should look seriously at that. It's time for it.
Okay. I actually had something under selectmen comment. I've had a couple people and a couple comments that have been made regarding community centers. And so there's some, I guess, misinformation that's out there. The selectmen have been checking. They have been checking a lot of places, a lot of things. And as far as land being given to the town recently, no. We have checked out Northern Pines. Several of us went out to do that. So we have checked, I've called people. So it's not a matter of us just sitting around and not doing anything and not trying to find property. There's just, we don't have it. And the other thing, and the comment was made by Dana and Joe both, it's got to be a good investment. It really does. You don't want to make a bad investment on something and end up spending millions of dollars on repairs and everything else. So please know that we're working on it. We're looking, and I know people want a community center, but it's got to be a good deal. And so I just wanted to clarify that. All right. Anybody else any comments? Go ahead, Joe.
Madam Chair, I would suggest that we add a comprehensive plan discussion to the next agenda.
I agree.
I do too.
Sue, can you put that in the, thank you. Nope, that'd be great.
And not to waste anybody's time, but I've been wondering since we got on, what kind of bug spray is Sue have on? Because I haven't seen her swat a fly all night and she's in like the swamp.
Yeah, it's amazing.
She hasn't swatted a fly, and look at the beautiful background she's in. Look where she is and no flies.
Yeah.
Huh, amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Do we need to take a vote on that? Do we need a motion on that one somehow?
On bug spray?
Well, whatever this commentary is that he's making, and you know.
Big comment.
And if you head down Mere Point in Brunswick in about a month, it will look like this again. It's a gorgeous spot.
All right, moving on. Town manager's report and communication.
All right, thank you very much. Just a quick comment on the broadband issue. If I had something that I could have reported, I would have reported it. I've been really trying to push this thing forward. This town and Kevin Woodbury, Lori Forbes in particular, in assisting me. We've been as active as we possibly can be, working with Wyndham's WEDCO, the Wyndham Economic Development Corp, trying to get interest with our neighboring communities. We've made several unsuccessful applications. It's highly competitive for small amounts of money. We're not a poor area, which is a difficulty for us when we make applications. We did get a small grant at one point. It's an immense problem. It's a problem that is of national significance, state significance. The latest hope is that the county, which has gotten a very large grant from the American Rescue Plan, will put a good amount of money possibly into that in partnership with the state, with the federal government. There will be a municipal component, I'm sure. Right now, it's probably not going to be our recommendation that we put our small amount of money, relatively speaking, order of magnitude $500,000 into any kind of comprehensive broadband system proposal. However, it may be possible, even likely, that we say, let's upgrade, the last mile technology of some of our facilities in anticipation that there is a hopeful, larger overarching kind of broadband project coming. That's what they say is coming from the federal government. That's what our legislative delegation says is a top priority. That's what the Biden administration says is a top priority. That's what the governor says is a top priority. But I'm with Peter. I mean, I agree. I mean, I'm frustrated. If I had something I could report, I mean, I think the interest is there, there's enthusiasm, but what's not there is the funding, and there hasn't been a private sector initiative to make it happen either, which is what we had hoped for. I mean, it's a big issue. It's the essential infrastructure of this century, and so I'm frustrated. And you know, we're trying, we're doing what we can do, and you know, I haven't got anything at this point to say except maybe there's some level of hope at this point now with the American Rescue Plan. Let's see. I'll report, you know, on a more frequent basis as that develops, and hopefully something will develop. I do have a few local things I want to tell you about. We have, as you may have noticed, our big roadside mowing machine. And so we're doing a lot of roadside mowing to improve traffic sight lines. And so I want to call out the Public Works Department for that work. And you may have noticed that machine. It's kind of like a big hydraulic boom that, you know, trims the trees up in a rather aggressive manner, but they you know, heal, you know, quickly, and that damage is almost invisible in very short, you know, period of time, but it improves sight lines and traffic safety. We're doing drainage improvements right now in Ledge Hill. We've been on Valley Road. We're going to Shaker Woods and then Raymond Hill. The sidewalk project, so the longest project in history, I guess. We're waiting now for a Maine Department of Transportation determination on a start date. So we've not gone out to bid, but when we get a start date and an approval, then we can see about going out to bid. This is probably the worst possible time in history of my career to be seeking competitive bids for projects of this type, but that's what's going on there. In public safety, we're going to be winding up another campaign to solicit volunteers. So if you know anybody who wants to, you know, help the town as a call member, you know, people who are interested in serving the community, who have the capabilities and the willingness to train and to be a you know, an active member of our public safety department, please pass the word. You'll see signage, physical signage out on the roadways. You'll see electronic notices. And so now we're in full summer swing, and our population has increased, so has our call volume. So I want to call out and thank our neighboring communities. Now's the time when we go from being probably in some ways a town that provides perhaps a little more mutual aid than we receive, to the opposite. Now we're depending on our neighbors, and thankfully they've been there for us. We, in talking to Bruce, had a very, very busy weekend, and we're calling in more mutual aid than we're providing at this point. So just saying we need help. And so if you know somebody who might want to help us, please pass the word. It's a great way to serve your community and help people out. So anyway, now confirming dates for upcoming regular meetings. July 13th, which will be a return to normalcy. It'll be our first live in-person meeting since the onset of the pandemic, I guess. And so then we have August 10th will be the one following that. All set?
That, can I ask Sue, did we get the other board filled? Do you know?
Any particular other board?
Sorry, budget finance.
Budget finance is, there's one seat still empty.
Okay.
And at this point, the select board could choose to call a special town meeting vote or to appoint for 1 year until next June.
Okay. Is it 2-year or 3-year?
They're 3-year terms, but if you appoint, it's only to the end of this fiscal year.
That's
Or
right.
the next fiscal year.
Okay, cool.
Oh,
All right.
I guess I have another thing I would tell you. I was at the waste, I always say MWAC, but it's not MWAC now, Maine Waste Energy, I guess. I was at their annual meeting the other night, and so I rolled out the issue of what happens if we were to, you know, stop recycling, and asked the executive director that during the budget meeting when we're talking about recycling revenue and so forth. And he says the plant, as long as it doesn't come in any one slug altogether, he doesn't really see an impact on the plant at all. A number of the communities around the table have all considered this. they've all rejected it for various reasons, mostly political, not economic. You know, they put it to a vote, or the councils or boards of selectmen decided not to go forward. But the plant will operate just fine. It's not going to affect the plant in any substantive way. So I wanted to share that with you. And, you know, so it's not going to be any issue that way. There's not going to be any kind of an environmental issue for the plant. It has very sophisticated technology to take any kind of, you know, problems in terms of, you know, environmental contaminants out of the waste. And as far as metal goes and whatnot, they like that. They are making some revenue from any kinds of metals that will show up, particularly the non-ferrous metals.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. That's it. Can we get a motion to adjourn?
Second.
So,
All in favor? All right. Thanks, guys. Good meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.